Sydney.
And I'm Jalen. Welcome to Connected Cultures. This week we will be looking into Spain.
This episode, we will be looking into news, food, and the life of Antoni Gowdy. But first, I had a chance to interview Reyes Asas Barra.
All right, so hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. So, start off, could you give us a little bit of background on yourself? You know, what year are you? What are you studying?
Yeah. So I'm a freshman and I'm majoring at international business, and I'm from Spain, so this is my first year here at Appalachian State University.
And what part of Spain, like, are you in, like, the downtown, area, or, like, what part of Spain are you from, and what's that like?
So I'm from the south of Spain. I'm from a really big city called Sevilla or Seville, which is like an hour and a half away from the coast. So I live in a really big city. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I bet that's a bit of a shock moving to Boone, North Carolina, then.
Kinda.
So I know you grew up in Spain, you went to school in Spain, and then you came and did your senior year here in America. What was the major difference in Spain schooling versus American schooling?
Um, Maybe like the clothes, I would say, because like I had to wear a uniform in Spain, and like in America you could just wear whatever. Like the whole system was like different. And then here, like sports, they play like such a good role, and like a really important, it's like a really important thing in America. But in Spain, in my high school, we didn't play like any sports.
What about like curriculum, like subjects? Were they different, or are they kind of the same across the board?
They were different because like in my high school back in Spain, like you couldn't like pick up your classes. You had to take like every single one of them. But in America, you could like decide when you want to take them.
Mm, awesome. And if you could bring anything from Spain to the States, whether a specific store, maybe a tradition, what would that be and why?
That's a good question. Um, Maybe the weather, probably.
Weather? Yeah.
Yes.
What's the difference in the weather?
So like in Spain, it's like always like really sunny and warm, and it's like always like 70 degrees outside. So it's like really warm all the time.
Do you guys not have a winter?
We do like, but it only lasts for like 2 months.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah.
Oh wow. And why did you decide to come to college, here? Were you thinking of going to college back in Spain, or did you always think that you were going to come to college in America?
I wanted to travel and to get like an American experience, but I applied for a college back in Spain. So I applied to Upstate, and then to my college, like from back home.
Mhm.
But yeah.
And what advice would you give to someone who was thinking of studying abroad in Spain?
Oh, okay. Um,
Any travel destinations, visit tourist tips?
um, I would say that they're going to like Spain because you can be like at the mountains or like at the beach at the same like during the same day. Like it's like everything is like so close. So if you're like more an adventurous person, you can pretty much be in the two places at the same day. And also you have to be like patient because like the people from Spain are like really like outminded and like wild and crazy and loud, and um just like be patient, I
Mm.
guess.
And are plans of going back to Spain in your future?
um yeah, I'm going back to Spain during the summer break.
Mhm.
And do you mean like after graduation or?
Just any time, like visits. Are you going to move back there? Are you, here to stay? What is Spain like in your future?
Um, so I'm planning on going back home after graduation because like I'm here because I have like a student visa and it only lasts for like 5 years. So I cannot stay as long as I would like to.
In the time that you are here, though, what are some things you're looking forward to experiencing and things you have experienced while being here so far?
It's always really interesting meeting new people because like you realize how different everyone is and like you get used to like handling like new personalities and just like meeting new people.
Meeting new people.
Hmm.
And how are your classes going? Is that where you're meeting new people, or are you out doing stuff?
So this semester all my classes are online, so um, it has been like really hard to make new friends this semester because of like COVID. But last semester I had like 3 in-person classes, so that's pretty much how I met all my friends.
Hmm. How's your family back in Spain? Do you talk to them often, and how are they doing?
They're doing okay. We stay in touch like all the time, and we FaceTime like once a week, maybe twice.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Did you tell them about any culture shocks you experienced from coming here? Was there anything they heard you say was like normal here and they were like, what the heck?
I mean, I would say like the food maybe because like it's like so different.
Mhm.
Hmm.
What's your favorite American food versus your favorite Spain food?
I really like cheeseburgers or maybe Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah.
It's like really tasty.
Do you guys not have Chick-fil-A or anything like that over there?
No, we don't. Yeah.
What do you do have over there that you miss and you wish we had here?
Um, More like seafood restaurants.
Hmm.
Like, hmm.
Yeah. All right. And um, what's one thing that you really miss from Spain?
I miss my dogs and my horses.
Oh, you have horses?
Hmm.
How
I have
many?
horses. Like 10 or.
Really? Do you ride?
Hmm.
Oh, that's so fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for lending your time to Connected Cultures. It was really awesome talking with you, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
It's really interesting to hear the differences between Spain and Boone.
I know, it almost feels like we're connecting to other cultures. Now let's go to Kayla as she tells us about Spain's attractions and food.
From the Sagrada Familia to their national parks, Spain is a country filled with things to see and places to visit. Located in southwestern Europe, Spain has a population of nearly 47 million people. When people visit this country, one of the main attractions is La Sagrada Familia. This is a Roman Catholic minor basilica in Barcelona that has been under construction since 1883 and is not expected to be complete until 2030. Construction on the building has been halted twice, the most recent reason being COVID-19. But workers are back on site and the Sagrada Familia is said to be in the final stage of construction. Madrid is the capital of Spain and the second largest city in the European Union. Here, visitors can visit museums such as the Prado Museum or the Reina Sofia Museum. You can also see the Royal Palace of Madrid. Madrid has an inland Mediterranean climate with cool winters that sit at about 40 degrees Fahrenheit and summers that are hot, sitting at about 95 degrees. During these hot summers, you can find locals and tourists out at the many cafes in the city. But there are more things to do outside in Spain than just cafes. People enjoy the many beaches, such as La Concha Beach or Playa de las Canteras. Playa de las Canteras is a strip of sand that stretches for miles along the bay. This beach is favored by tourists and locals and is protected by a natural reef called La Barra. Spain also has 16 national parks that people can explore. One of these parks is the Aguastortes y Estany de San Maurici National Park. This is a wild mountain region with nearly 200 lakes. The park was established in 1955 and has since expanded to an area of 54 square miles. Here you can find people mountain biking or walking along the many paths. We can't talk about Spain without talking about the country's love of food. There are many traditional Spanish dishes. One of these is paella. This is a rice dish that originated in Valencia and can be made from several different things, from meat, seafood, vegetables, to a mix of all three. The seafood paella has become the most famous and well-known, although the meat paella is the most traditional. Another common Spanish food is chorizo. This is a Spanish pork sausage that is marinated in different spices, herbs, and white wine to create a sweet and spicy flavor. Chorizo can be eaten alone or can be mixed into many other traditional dishes. While many Spanish dishes are filled with rich and savory flavors, there are also many sweet and sugary desserts. One of the most popular desserts is the churro. These are long pieces of fried dough that are dusted in sugar, served at cafes, or sold on street corners. Churros are not just popular in Spain, but all throughout Latin America. Spain is filled with a rich and vibrant culture. They are a community that appreciates the outdoors, and one that cooks sweet and savory dishes that are enjoyed by locals and tourists. Spain is filled with history that can be found from the architecture on the streets to the inside of their museums. It is a country that exudes a bright energy and a close community. Spain is a country filled with beautiful monuments, cities, and natural spaces that are loved by both locals and visitors.
I definitely need to try that food sometime. Now let's take a look at famed architect Antoni Gowdy, as well as COVID in Spain and how they're handling it.
Antoni Gowdy, born 1852 to 1926, was one of the most famous Spanish architects in the country, as well as the most unusual. He is Catalan and was a pivotal part in the Catalan modernist movement going on in Spain. Throughout the 20th century, Gowdy has crafted a unique style in his architecture that has blended Muslim and Christian designs. His architecture has become one of the top proponents of modernism, and he received many commissions for projects in his life that became a reality. His many projects include the Bellegarde Tower, Palau Güell, Park Güell, the restoration of Mallorca Cathedral, Casa Batlló, Casa La Pedrera, and the Church of the Sagrada Familia. There are a total of 7 projects that Gowdy completed in Barcelona that resemble his own personal style with architecture, as well as his ability to design gardens, sculptures, and other arts. Antoni Gaudy's magnificence in his architecture can only be a result of his personal withdrawal that kept him from having an active social life, as he was always devoted to religious and mystical point of view. The Palau Güell, originally a family home, has become a cultural and tourist facility that has retained its original decoration. There is also the Park Güell, used as a public park/green space, which was its original purpose. It only goes under general restorations to try and restore the engagement and cultural significance of Gowdy for its residents. The Casa Batlló, as well as Mila La Pedrera, were pre-existing buildings remodeled by Gowdy. It was originally used as an apartment building, but has spaces for offices and tourist facilities now. Casa Vicent is another monument that has retained its physical appearance in its use as a family home with only a minor restoration. In order to keep his projects intact, the Territorial Commission for the Cultural Heritage of Barcelona and the Territorial Commission of the City of Barcelona are ultimately responsible for managing the properties, but they are divided up of the City of Barcelona through different sects. Gaudy's work has provided cultural and historic landmark on modern architecture in Spain. This is done through his own Catalan traditions as a source of reference, as well as the technical progress of modernism with the architecture industry. This makes him one of the most renowned modernista architects in Spain and a pioneer in the modernist movement.
Thanks. Residents of Spain are experiencing rising rates of the coronavirus as the spread of the virus accelerates, just as new shipments of the largest batch of vaccines to date come in. Over the past 14 days, the infection rate has been measured and found to have risen to 163.4 cases per 100,000 people from 151.8 cases. The infections of the virus being on the rise across the country of Spain have been confirmed by the Health Emergency Chief, Fernando Simon, and stated that the pressure on the health system was beginning to build. However, despite the recent rises, he had stressed that these rising rates of the virus are much milder when compared to previous waves. In addition, the reported death toll of Spain has risen from 85 to 75,783, as Spain reports 10,360 new cases of the infectious coronavirus, which in turn brings the overall tally to 3.3 million. Spain received the delivery of 1.2 million doses of the Pfizer BioNTech shot this past week and will receive similar amounts of doses throughout the rest of April, according to Health Minister Carolina Darius. The country's aim is to reach and achieve collective immunization with this objective, focusing on the inoculation of 70% of the 47 million strong population by the end of summer. Data that was released this past week showed around 5.7 million people received at least one shot, while 2.8 million have received the full 2 shots. In other news, Spain has made a decision to only give the AstraZeneca's coronavirus vaccine to people who are over 60 years old after discovery of a potential link between the shot and rare brain blood clots. 169 cases of the rare clotting disorder were reported out of 34 million doses administered within Europe, and roughly 1 for every 100,000 people under 60 vaccinated. Most had occurred in women under the age of 60 and within 2 weeks of injection, according to the European Medicines Agency. Spain's decision is based on and follows Italy, having recommended the shot to people over 60, and Britain having said that the people under 30 should seek an alternative shot. There were an alarming amount of 8,788 new cases of daily infections registered by the health ministry, which brought the total of overall cases to 3.3 million. The death toll also rose by 126, which made the toll 76,037. The country's hospitals are also under pressure as COVID cases spike in intensive care units being heavily occupied by COVID-19 patients. And there are more than 8,000 people that are currently hospitalized with COVID-19. With the occupancy rate of COVID-19 patients in the intensive care units of Spain's hospitals being that of 18.4% of all ICU beds. This, alongside the numbers of COVID cases exceeding 100 per 100,000 inhabitants, places Spain on level 3 of the 4-level alert system, in which the highest system indicates extreme risk. The 4-level alert system is initially made for the purpose of measuring the evolution of the pandemic in smaller areas or regions, but in the case of Spain, it helps to give an idea of the rise in cases over the past few weeks. Despite the rise of the incident rates in most Spanish territories, and in which 7 Spanish territories have an incident rate over the threshold of 150, which is an indicator of high risk. As of now, the countries which are considered to have incident rates over the 150 threshold and are at high risk are Asturias, Catalonia, Madrid, Navarre, the Basque Country, and the North African exclave cities of Ceuta and Melilla. Despite the alarming rates of COVID-19 cases and patients, including the ICU's percentage of beds occupied having remained at 18.4% in the past 2 weeks, the pressure on hospitals has still not risen. Health Minister Carolina Darius made a statement recently that the vaccines are key for Spain in preventing the current spike from turning into a possible 4th wave.
Thank you for watching. Join us April 29th at 10 a.m. for our next episode.
See you next week.